Hello, everyone. Thanks so much and welcome back. It's always lovely, refreshing, uplifting to connect with you. It's really providing these messages for you is one of the best parts of my life. So, welcome back. Today, I want to talk about Velociraptor relationships. Velociraptor relationships and protecting and respecting the borders and boundaries of your life. But before that, I want to share a little bit about my love and my fascination for dinosaurs. And it started when I was very young. And I have to tell you that these velociraptors are absolutely fascinating creatures. I go to the Museum of Natural History in New York about 3 or 4 times a year just to spend the day. And I have not made it past the rooms that feature all the dinosaurs because it's just mesmerizing. You can get lost in it. And before I talk to you a little bit more about the velociraptor, and I'm using the velociraptor as a symbol for a certain kind of relationship, I want to just venture over into a little bit of a sidebar. So many people reach out to me, and we're all on our our soul's journey, dealing with anxiety, dealing with depression, dealing with stress. And I want to offer to you a therapeutic intervention that a lot of people never think about, okay? And I promise you I'll get back to the velociraptor. A lot of people learn for different reasons. Some people learn to collect data, which is fine. That's awesome. They're very smart. They know a lot. That's fine if that's what learning represents for you. Some people learn just for the sheer pleasure of refreshing themselves with new knowledge. But I want to share with you how learning has supported me in my healing. Learning is very therapeutic, folks. It is very therapeutic on multiple levels. I've shared with you a couple times in my videos. I went through a horrible breakup, didn't know what to do with myself, and I found this bat symposium going on online. And believe me, I'm not in or was not into bats at that time. But I remember going because I was so down and I just wanted a distraction. Spent the day at the museum learning all about bats. And probably one day I'm going to write a book about these little creatures. They are fascinating. And by the time I left that symposium, it was like 8 hours later, I had walked in so depressed and I left and I wasn't doing backflips, but I was distracted enough where I felt lift. It was really the start of a deep healing process for me. And later in my soul journey, I would learn that bats represent symbolically rebirth. They represent rebirth. So I'm not surprised of that symbolism. But my point in sharing is even if you're sitting there thinking, Sheila, a conference or a book or a symposium is not what I want right now. I want a companionship or I want to feel better. What I'm offering to you is this: everything we need. Everything we need. We search outside of ourselves, but everything that we need is within. The compass is within, and there are resources here to support us. Sometimes you just got to get back into life. You just got to hit that refresh button, and learning will do that. Learning new things, getting lost in it in a delicious way will do that for us. Um, Back to the velociraptor relationships. This velociraptor was around about 75 million years ago. And interestingly enough, velociraptor means speedy thief, which is kind of the perfect segue for the other portion of my message today. If you could recall the movie Jurassic Park, when the velociraptor was testing the fence, I mean, literally, very intelligent creatures testing the fence for weak spots because it kind of wanted to escape and gain some more territory. Well, velociraptor relationships are very similar. when you meet a person or a person is in your life, it's not that they're willfully or intentionally testing for your weak spots in your life or around your border. There's just some people, they're just built to do that. They will look for various weak spots, and if they find them, and again, it's something kind of more on an unconscious level, they end up exploiting them to your detriment. It happens. It's not a topic we all want to talk about, but we have to be on guard. So I want to dive into this a little bit deeper. Share an example of someone I work with who ended up very unknowingly in a velociraptor relationship. This woman, very big heart, kind heart, had a soft spot for children, a soft spot for people suffering, and she got involved in a relationship, and this man knew that very well. He ended up getting behind on his child support. She had a big fluffy 401k set aside. By the time I met her, she had drained it to the tune of about $52,000 to keep him out of jail because he had fallen behind. And I remember her sharing, I have I have always had such a soft heart. I feel like there were flags initially. I don't think he's a bad person or a malicious person, but here I am in this situation. I don't think that I'm ever going to get my money back. I knew she wasn't going to get her money back. And this was really a situation of someone needing to get on a more intimate level with where are the weak spots in the boundaries and borders of your life. I mean, the territory of your life, folks, the very territory of your life is where you're placing your boundaries and borders. And they have to be respected. No one else can respect those boundaries and borders if you're not familiar or don't know your weak spots and you haven't dealt with them. You leave yourself wide open. Another example, I was working with a mom, very lovely, mother of four children, had saved for an amazing retirement. Her youngest son pairs up in a relationship that's not healthy at all, has two children. This grandmother, who's 70 years old, ends up with these children. She's basically raising these children when she had planned and paid for. She wanted to spend her retirement on the Caribbean. That was all set. And she shared with me, I have four children. I've always had a soft spot for my youngest. He grew up sick. And I asked her, well, is he healthy today? He's very healthy. He needs to get his children back. And he knew he needed to get the children back, but he also knew his mom had a soft spot and he exploited it. So when people kind of test the gates and pathways and boundaries you set up, again, oftentimes it's very unconscious, but there is a personality type. There are people out there who, if they can get through and breach that border boundary, they will get in your backyard, get in your front yard, play around, and it will be to your detriment. It will be to your detriment. I promise you that. So, what I want to share is just a simple one step process to getting familiar with where are the weak spots in your life, around the territory of your life that you are dealing with. You have to know what they are. I suggest get yourself a snack, sit down one day. I like to do a lot of my process work at the Cheesecake Factory. Thank you, Jesus, for Linda's chocolate fudge cake. Okay, but pick your own, pick your own snacks, but sit down and be honest with yourself. What's my weak spots? And how do you reinforce it? You reinforce it. You don't start the reinforcement procedures when the boundary is breached or the border is breached. Someone is in your territory. You start that. You start that by a plan. You have a plan put in place in the event that it occurs. Oftentimes, the plan is a preventative maintenance measure and will prevent anyone breaching your territory in the first place. I love nature's channels, National Geographic, Nat Geo, amazing. And you will see they do a lot of uh, documentaries and informational shows about lions and tigers, and I will tell you that these tigers have territory. Sometimes it's over 100 miles, for one, and that's their territory. There's a boundary, and when another tiger steps over it, you will see a fight, you will see a conflict, you will see that playing out because the territory is precious. The territory of your life is precious. And generally, when people get into certain territories of your life, easy for them to get in. It's like a roach motel, easy to get in, difficult to get out. Difficult to get out. And another piece of advice that I have, if you have moved in life and your relationships in such a way where people have felt emboldened or free to take over your territory, and now you want to shift and you want to reclaim that territory, it's never too late to do that. It's never too late, but understand this: when people have gained certain territory that's comfortable for them, because then they acquire your territory and they basically make themselves at home. So you have to understand, normally there is going to be a conflict. There will be an upheaval. I'm not going to say everyone will leave, but be prepared. Some people will. Other people, you're going to have to work the process. You're going to have to work a process and understand that generally when people gain territory, even if it's not their own, they want to keep it. They want to possess it because it's comfortable for whatever reason, comfortable for them. And a lot of people like that territory because they can be dominant. They can be dominant in that territory. A lot of people will possess that territory because if I'm positioned over here, I can get you to do X, Y, Z easier. And I'm not saying the Velociraptor individuals, I'm not saying they set out to be malicious. That's a different video. You have some people that are just diabolical. But there's a piece of it is human nature, but a piece of it is folks who are just prone. Hey, if I can get away with it, if I can do it, I'm gonna go ahead and do it. So we really have to move into this space of awareness of what is your territory. What are you willing to accept in your territory? What boundaries do you have around it? What's not acceptable? So I'm hoping that this video heightened your awareness about velociraptor relationships and just sitting down and being honest with yourself about your weak spots, because boy, it makes a difference in reinforcing those boundaries. Thanks so much. I'll see you next time.